Start by making your magic ring. And then make 6 single crochets into this magic ring. We're going to be working in continuous rounds, so we're not going to do a slip stitch. Go ahead and make a single crochet into this first stitch that we made. And in the second round, we're going to do a row of increases. So making my first increase in this first stitch. Okay, now we're going to start the third row, which is going to be a pattern of 1 single crochet followed by an increase. Start with your single crochet, then followed by an increase, and just repeat that all around until you have 18. Fourth round is going to be a pattern of 2 single crochets followed by an increase, starting with the 2 single crochets. And an increase. Just repeat that all the way around until you have 24. Okay, now for rounds 5 through 9, you're just going to do 24 single crochets all around in continuous rounds. So starting this 5th round with regular single crochets. Okay, this is what it should be looking like after the 9th round. At this point, I'm going to go in and make sure I close and fasten off my magic circle. Now going into the 10th round, this is where we're going to make this little muzzle piece. We're going to start off with 2 single crochets. Followed by a decrease. Two single crochets. Decrease. Two singles. Decrease. And then after this decrease, you're going to make 1 single crochet. So at this point, you should have a total of 10 stitches in the row. And in the 11th stitch is where we're going to make the muzzle. So that's going to be a 6-stitch bobble stitch. I think that's how you would describe it. Go ahead and yarn over and go through this next stitch right here. Pull through and sort of loosen up the amount of tension you have on the loops of your hook so it's not super tight. And then you're going to yarn over and pull through only the first 2 loops. And you're going to do that a total of 6 times. So I'm yarning over again, going into the same gap. And once you've made 6 of these, you should have 7 loops on your hook. Now I'm going to yarn over and pull all through 7. Okay, just like that. And then we're going to follow into these 2 with a decrease. And then just use your finger to kind of push out the bobble stitch so it sticks out like a muzzle. And then we're going to continue the rest of the round with that same pattern of 2 single crochets followed by a decrease. You should have a total of 18 stitches in this round. Going into the 11th round, we're going to make a pattern of 1 single crochet followed by a decrease for a total of 12 stitches in the round. I'm just making sure I'm turning it over so I can clearly see the bobble stitch is just 1 stitch. Okay, I like to place the safety eyes at this point before moving on, because we're going to start closing in on the head, and it'll be impossible to do that. I place mine right above where the muzzle is, a little far apart. Okay, and then I also like to add in the nose. So to make the muzzle, I'm going to start sort of adjust, so I like the way that it's shaped. And starting from the very bottom, I'm going to cut a line all the way through, not completely to the top right here, but try to poke the head out about this far up. So from the very bottom, bringing it up about right here, so it's not all the way at the top. Like that. Don't pull all the way through, leave a generous amount. And then I'm going to go over and back through the same way that I just went. And I'm going to use my fingernail to sort of guide where it falls. I want it to be right down the middle. Very gently tighten it so that it's secured without distorting the shape of the muzzle. And then from here, I'm going to make the nose horizontally. So I'm going to go on from the side. About that wide is how I like the nose to be. And again, pulling gently, I'm going to go over the top the same way that I just went. Again, using my nail to guide where the yarn falls. And then I'm going to go over that same thing a few times so I can thicken the way the nose looks. When I go over for the very last time, instead of going poking out on this side, I'm going to go in through this way and then go straight through until I'm at the inner side of the head. And then this loose tail piece, I'm going to do the same thing. So readjusting a little bit. And with this tail piece, I'm going to actually go up one more time to sort of thicken the centerpiece, but go all the way through right here underneath the nose. Okay, and then now that these are both on the same side over here, I can just tie a knot inside the head and secure it down. Trim the excess and you're done. Okay, and before we go on, I'm going to partially fill the head in with stuffing so it starts to fill out a little bit. Okay, we're going to go start the 12th round, which is just going to be 6 decreases. Okay, you should have 6 stitches in that 12th round, and I'm going to finish out stuffing so the head is full. Alright, going into the 13th round, it's just going to be 6 single crochets all around. Okay, so that's going to be the neck. Now we're going to start with increases again. So 14th round, make 6 increases all around. Okay, you should have 12 stitches. Going into the 15th row, we're going to do a pattern of single crochets followed by an increase. Okay, rows 16 through 21 are going to stay at this width, and you're going to make 18 single crochets in continuous rounds. Okay, this is what your bear should be looking like after the 21st round. I'm going to fill it in with a little more stuffing all the way through the head so it fills out to capacity. So we're going to start the 22nd row, 22nd round, which is going to be a pattern of 1 single crochet followed by a decrease, but stop once you've made 5 stitches. So I'm going to start with a single crochet, decrease, single, decrease, and single crochet. So this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're going to make another bobble stitch into the 6th stitch. So yarn over, go into the 6th stitch, do the same thing we did for the previous one, and go through only the first 2 loops. This bobble stitch is going to have 5 stitches, so it's going to be a little smaller than the muzzle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to yarn over, pull through all 6 loops. And there's the bobble stitch. And this is going to be the tail. So now we're going to continue on with that same pattern that we did. Now since this kind of disrupts the pattern that we did because we had a single crochet followed by a bobble, we're going to do a decrease in this one, in these next 2 stitches, 1 single crochet, decrease, single crochet, decrease. You're going to end this round with 2 consecutive decreases. So in total, you should have 12 stitches all around. And then once you do a little bit of readjusting, you're going to see that the tail falls perfectly on the opposite side of the head. Going into the 23rd round, it's just going to be 6 decreases all around. That's the last round that we're going to make, so I'm going to fill in as much as I can of the stuffing. Okay, go ahead and cut yarn, leaving a generous amount so that you can sew it closed. And then I'm just going to loop through each of these last 6 stitches all around to tighten it and close the circle. And I'm just going to fill in the gaps and fasten off. Okay, now we're going to make the arms and legs. Go ahead and start by making your magic ring. And then make 4 single crochets into the ring. Then I'm going to start the next round by making a single crochet into that first stitch that we made. For the second round, you're just going to make 4 increases. So that's 1, make my increase. And then for rounds 3 to 7, you're just going to make 1 single crochet into every stitch, 8 in total for each round, so that you can build up the arm or the leg. So that's 1. Okay, once you finish your 7th round, it should look something like this. I'm going to put a tiny bit of stuffing into there just to fill out the bottoms right here. And then you can see it like tapers out because I only put the stuffing at the very end. Okay, and then with this tail end piece that we're working with, you're going to just pinch it shut this way, and then we're going to sew all across these stitches so that it's like flat. So I'm just lining them up and then sewing all across. And then you can just reshape it a little bit. But this is what your arms and legs will look like before we sew them on. So go ahead and make 4 of these. Now we're going to make 2 little ears that we're going to sew on, and this one is a very simple pattern. Go ahead and make your magic ring. And then make 6 single crochets into that ring. Once you have 6, we're not going to close the ring fully. We're actually going to chain 1, turn the work, and then makes 6 all the way back across. 6 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now go ahead and tighten this ring right here. I mean this tail end piece to close that gap. And then cut enough so that you can sew. Using your darning needle, I'm going to secure this piece right here by just weaving through 1 loop. Like that. So you should have a half circle. And then I'm going to kind of weave my way towards the center right here. Pretty loosely so that I don't warp the circle, the half circle shape. Like that. And then I'll just tie a knot right here in the center to secure both pieces. Okay. Now this half circle is going to be the ear. Go ahead and make 1 more of them, so you have 2. And it'll kind of curve like this onto the head when we sew it on. Okay, now we're gonna get into the sewing. First, I'm gonna sew the arms and legs on. And I like to do the arms first. So kind of just tweak the bear body and head a little bit so it's all aligned nicely with the tail right behind the face. I'm going to align this up so it's like right here into the neck crevice. So when I sew it on, I'm going to be sewing right here at the top. Okay, go ahead and sew both the arms on so they look something like this. And now to do the legs, I like to make the bear look like it's sitting. So I'll kind of place it like that. And then kind of eyeball where it will be attached to. From the bottom, I'll attach it right here so that it's kind of sticking out this way. Okay, after you sew it on, it can look something like this. So your bear can be sitting. And now we'll sew on the ears this way. And you kind of curve the ear inwards a little bit like this. Okay, so I put the center of the ear so that it can lay like this right here. And before I fully sew it on, I'm just kind of like making note of where this is on the head so that I can put the other center of the ear directly across and mirror it. And tie a knot to secure it down. Same thing for the other side. Okay, now that the centers are kind of like tied down to the head so that the placement is correct, now also the rest of the ear on to get the angle and the curvature. Okay, once you're all done sewing, your bear should be all done. And you can just make little adjustments. And there you go.